It is me, Dark Angel ASMR, and tonight I am back with another case. Tonight's case is going to be the disappearance of Amy Lynn Bradley. If you are looking for more ASMR content from me, I do have my original ASMR channel that is always linked in the description box below. And as always, my notes and my script are going to be on this side of the screen, which is why I will be looking over there quite a bit throughout the video. But without further ado, let's get into it. So, I'm going to start with sort of just a background of the case and on Amy, because I like to give background information whenever possible on victims. Amy Lynn Bradley was a vibrant, athletic, and spirited 23-year-old woman when she embarked on what was supposed to be a relaxing and fun-filled vacation with her family. Born on May 12, 1974, Amy was the daughter of Ron and Eva Bradley and the older sister of Brad Bradley. She grew up in Petersburg, Virginia, where she was an active member of the community and participated in various extracurricular activities throughout her childhood and teenage years. Amy's life up to the point of her disappearance on March 24th, 1998, provides insight into her personality and her relationships surrounding the vacation. Amy was known for her athletic abilities and outgoing personality. From an early age, she was involved in sports and was especially passionate about swimming and basketball. Amy's competitive nature made her excel in various activities, and she was well respected among her peers. She attended Longwood University in Virginia, where she studied physical education and was preparing to begin a career as a swim coach. Amy's love for the water, which played such a significant role in her life, would become an ironic and unsettling factor in her disappearance. As a young adult, Amy had developed into an independent and self-assured woman. She had a close-knit family, which was an essential part of her support system. Her relationships with her parents, Ron and Eva, and her brother Brad, were characterized by mutual respect and affection. The Bradleys were a typical American family who enjoyed spending time together, often participating in family vacations. However, Amy's journey toward a fateful cruise was not without its personal challenges. Amy's parents decided to take a family vacation in March of 1998 to the Caribbean. Excuse me. Booking a trip aboard the Royal Caribbean International cruise ship, Rhapsody of the Seas. They saw it as an opportunity to spend quality time together and celebrate Amy's recent achievements and milestones. At the time, Amy had just graduated from Longwood University, and this vacation was intended to be a reward for her hard work and dedication. Her brother Brad was also looking forward to the trip, seeing it as a chance to relax and enjoy the beautiful scenery of the Caribbean islands. However, Amy was initially hesitant expressed concerns about being confined to a cruise ship with people she didn't know, a sentiment that revealed her independent nature and dislike of feeling restricted. Additionally, Amy had a general unease about being in unfamiliar situations where she could not control her surroundings. Her reservations were also rooted in fear of open water, despite her being a strong swimmer, was a source of anxiety. Amy had grown up swimming and was very comfortable in pools and other familiar environments, but the vast, unpredictable nature of the ocean was unsettling to her. This fear was not uncommon, even for those with extensive swimming experience. Despite these concerns, though, Amy was eventually persuaded to join the vacation by her family, who reassured her it would be a fun and relaxing experience. Her brother Brad, in particular, played a role in convincing her to set aside her reservations and join her family on the trip. Amy eventually agreed, though she likely still harbored some of the apprehension she had initially expressed. In the weeks leading up to the vacation, Amy began preparing for the trip. She was noted to be in good spirits and started looking forward to spending the time with her family. Amy's life at that point was going well. She had recently graduated, was preparing for her next steps professionally, and was maintaining an active social life. Physically, Amy was in excellent shape. Her athletic background had given her a toned and strong physique, and she continued to stay active even after graduating. This level of fitness would later become a crucial detail in the investigation into her disappearance, as it indicated that Amy was not someone who would have struggled in physical situations. She was also described as being cautious and aware of her surroundings, which made the circumstances of her disappearance all the more baffling to those who knew her well. In the Bradley family, Amy was seen as a responsible and level-headed young woman. Her parents had always trusted her judgment and valued her opinions. This mutual respect formed the foundation of their close family bonds. On March 21st, 1998, Amy, along with her parents and brother, boarded the Rhapsody of the Seas in San Juan, Puerto Rico. The cruise was set to visit several Caribbean islands, including Aruba and Curacao. The ship itself was a massive vessel, capable of accommodating thousands of passengers, and it featured all the amenities of a luxury cruise ship: restaurants, pools, entertainment, and opportunities for various excursions on the island. For many passengers, including the Bradley family, the cruise represented an escape from the routine of daily life and an opportunity to explore exotic locations while being pampered in a comfortable and secure environment. Despite her initial apprehensions, Amy soon found herself getting into the spirit of the vacation. She enjoyed the time she spent with her family, and the ship's atmosphere was lively and social, which suited Amy's outgoing nature. Amy and Brad spent time together on the ship, Nonetheless, the Bradley family appeared to be enjoying their vacation, and there was no indication that anything was amiss. The night before Amy's disappearance began like any other for the Bradley family. On March 23rd, 1998, they had attended a formal dinner on board the Rhapsody of the Seas, enjoying a typical evening with other passengers. After dinner, they decided to visit the onboard nightclub, where they danced, drank, and socialized with other passengers and crew members. Amy and her parents and her brother had spent the night laughing and engaging with new friends, and it seemed like a pleasant night overall. Amy had appeared to let go of her concerns this night especially. She had participated in the evening's activities and was seen interacting with several people, including crew members. One crew member in particular, a man named Alistair Douglas, known by his nickname Yellow, was seen dancing with Amy. This encounter would later raise questions as part of the investigation into her disappearance. Around 1 a.m. on March 24th, Amy and her brother Brad left the nightclub and returned to their cabin. They stayed up talking on the balcony, reflecting on their night and enjoying the tropical ocean air. Amy seemed to be in good spirits, and there were no signs that she was upset or anxious. Eventually, Brad decided to go to bed, leaving Amy awake on the balcony with a cigarette. He last saw her around 5:15 a.m., when he woke briefly and noticed her still sitting there. This would be the last confirmed sighting of Amy Lynn Bradley. By the time Ron Bradley woke up around 6 a.m., Amy was gone. Her cigarettes and lighter were still on the balcony, and her shoes were still in the cabin, indicating that she hadn't left for a casual stroll around the ship. Ron immediately knew that something was wrong. He searched the cabin and nearby areas of the ship, but could not find Amy. At that point, he alerted the ship's crew and security staff that his daughter was missing. Once Amy was reported missing, her family and the ship's security team initiated a search effort to find her. However, from the very beginning, there were crucial delays and failings in how the situation was handled by the cruise line. These shortcomings would haunt the investigation and severely compromise the chances of finding Amy. The first critical mistake made by the cruise staff was their failure to immediately lock down the ship. Despite Ron Bradley's pleas to the ship's security team to prevent anyone from disembarking, the ship's captain and crew allowed passengers to disembark at the scheduled stop in Curacao that morning. This decision was made even though Amy had been missing for several hours by this point. The failure to lock down the ship and conduct a thorough search before allowing passengers to leave significantly hampered the investigation, as it introduced the possibility that Amy could have been taken off of the ship. Furthermore, the initial response from the ship's security was alarmingly slow. Instead of conducting an immediate search of the ship, the crew reassured the Bradleys that Amy was likely sleeping somewhere, or that she had gone ashore early that morning. This response was dismissive, ignoring the Bradleys' insistence that Amy would have ship-wide announcement was made asking for Amy's whereabouts. Several hours had passed since she had been seen. Even then, the search effort was not comprehensive. The crew conducted only a limited sweep of the public areas of the ship, failing to search private cabins or restricted areas where Amy could have been held against her will. Passengers later reported that the search seemed cursory, as though the ship staff was going through the motions without truly investigating Amy's disappearance. More failures on behalf of the cruise line became more evident as the hours turned into days. Royal Caribbean International's response was inadequate, disorganized, and ultimately detrimental to the search for Amy. Several key mistakes highlight the cruise line's failure in handling the situation effectively. One of the most significant failings of the cruise line was their delay in notifying the proper authorities. It took several hours after Amy was reported missing for the crew to contact the local authorities in Curacao. Even then, the communication between the cruise line, the Curacao police, and the FBI was fragmented and inefficient. This delay gave potential kidnappers, traffickers, or perpetrators time to evade detection, either by leaving the ship or disposing of evidence. Furthermore, the FBI was not immediately involved, which meant that any potential leads were not pursued with the same level of urgency or expertise that would have been available if U.S. law enforcement had been called sooner. By the time the FBI became involved, crucial time had been lost, and any chance of gathering fresh evidence had dwindled. The cruise line also failed to preserve potential evidence that could have provided clues about Amy's whereabouts. For example, CCTV footage from the ship was either lost or never properly reviewed. Despite the ship being equipped with security cameras, the footage from the night and early morning hours of Amy's disappearance was not carefully scrutinized. This was a glaring oversight, as it meant that investigators had no visual record of Amy's movements during or after the time she disappeared. Moreover, there were numerous reports of sightings and interactions involving Amy and crew members, including the man known as Yellow that I spoke about before. These reports were not fully investigated by the cruise line. Witnesses who had seen Amy with crew members were not interviewed thoroughly, and any leads that could have connected her disappearance to potential foul play were ignored or dismissed. The search conducted aboard the Rhapsody of the Seas was again superficial at best. Like I said, public areas were searched, but cabins and even staff-only areas weren't searched at all. This was a critical failure, as many experts later speculated that Amy could have been held against her will in one of the crew members' quarters. Given that there had been reports of inappropriate behavior from some of the crew members towards female passengers, this should have been an avenue of investigation from the get-go. Additionally, the search efforts onshore in Curacao were limited. Local police conducted a minimal search of the port area and surrounding locations, but no extensive search was conducted beyond the immediate vicinity of the dock. The possibility that Amy had been taken off the ship and transported elsewhere on the island was not fully explored in the early hours after her disappearance. As the days passed without any sign of Amy, her family began to suspect that she might have been kidnapped and sold into human trafficking. Several witnesses reported seeing Amy on shore in Curacao with men who appeared to be controlling her. However, Royal Caribbean International dismissed these concerns, focusing instead on the theory that Amy had fallen overboard, despite there being no evidence to support this whatsoever. The idea that Amy could have been a victim of trafficking was not taken seriously by the cruise line, even though such cases were not unheard of in popular tourist destinations. By ignoring this possibility, the cruise line failed to pursue potentially crucial leads that could have shed light on Amy's fate. The failures of the cruise line in those crucial early hours and days after Amy's disappearance set the stage for an investigation that was plagued by missed opportunities and dead ends. Amy's family continued to search for her tirelessly, hiring private investigators, appealing to the media, and following up on potential leads. Over the years, several reported sightings of Amy have surfaced, with witnesses claiming to have seen her in various Caribbean locations, sometimes in the company of men who appear to be controlling her. However, none of these leads have led to her discovery, and Amy Lynn Bradley remains missing to this day. The Bradley family has been, rightly, critical of Royal Caribbean International for their handling of the situation, and many experts agree that had the cruise line acted more swiftly and thoroughly, the chances of finding Amy might have been significantly higher. Now we're going to go on to the theories surrounding this case. So one of the earliest and most commonly considered theories is that Amy may have accidentally fallen overboard in the early morning hours of March 24th. The cruise line initially suggested this theory, as they claimed that accidents of this nature had occurred before on cruise ships. Evidence supporting this theory includes Amy's proximity to the balcony, where she was last seen sitting around 5:15 a.m. If Amy had been leaning against the balcony railing or standing near it, she might have slipped and fallen into the water. Additionally, rough seas could have contributed to her losing her balance. However, there are significant challenges to this theory. There were no reports of anyone hearing or seeing a fall, and no physical evidence, such as splash or cries for help, was found. Moreover, Amy was a very strong swimmer, which raises doubts that she would have drowned without at least attempting to alert someone. The items she left behind, including her cigarettes, lighter, and shoes, further indicate that she may not have intended to be gone for long. Another theory that has been raised is that Amy might have taken her own life by intentionally jumping overboard. However, this theory has been largely dismissed by her family and those who knew her well. There is little to no direct evidence suggesting Amy was suicidal at all. While some have speculated that the stress of post-graduation life or personal issues might have contributed to such an outcome, there is no concrete indication from Amy's behavior leading up to her disappearance that she was contemplating suicide. Furthermore, Amy was described as a vibrant young woman with close family ties and plans for the future, making this theory less credible. Her family has strongly rejected the notion that she would have ever taken her own life theories is that Amy was abducted and possibly sold into human trafficking. This theory has gained significant attention over the years due to the several reported sightings of Amy in the Caribbean after her disappearance. Suspicious crew behavior supports this theory, as Amy was seen socializing with several members of the ship's crew, particularly Yellow or Alistair Douglas. Additionally, multiple witnesses have reported seeing a woman matching Amy's description in various Caribbean locations. This raises the possibility that Amy may have been targeted by traffickers. However, despite numerous reported sightings, none of the tips have led to conclusive proof that Amy was abducted, and investigators have been unable to verify these sightings definitively. A related theory posits that some members of the cruise ship's crew might have been directly involved with Amy's disappearance, either by kidnapping her for personal reasons or selling her into trafficking. The behavior of crew members on the night of her disappearance has raised suspicions, especially given reports of inappropriate interactions with Amy. Additionally, some theorists suggest that the crew might have been complicit in covering up what happened, either by stalling search efforts or tampering with potential evidence. However, while there is circumstantial evidence pointing to the crew's potential involvement, no direct proof has been found, and none of the crew members have been charged or implicated in Amy's disappearance. Finally, the last theory we're going to discuss suggests that Amy may have fallen victim to an organized crime syndicate operating in the Caribbean, particularly in the realm of human trafficking. Some investigators believe that such criminal organizations target vulnerable tourists for abduction and exploitation. The reported sightings of Amy in various locations bolster this idea, suggesting she may have been moved around to avoid detection. The Caribbean's known issues with organized crime lend credibility to this theory, but the lack of hard evidence has made it challenging for investigators to follow up on this lead. In conclusion, the mystery of Amy Lynn Bradley's disappearance has captivated and frustrated investigators for over 2 decades. While several theories have been proposed, ranging from an accidental fall to abduction, none have been definitively proven. The most compelling theory remains that Amy was abducted, but the lack of conclusive evidence has kept this case unsolved, not closed. As her family continues to search for answers, Amy's disappearance remains one of the most haunting unsolved cases. So, this one, I don't have to say that this one is crazy because I'm sure that you're thinking the same thing. How does somebody fall off the face of the earth missing from a cruise ship? I'll tell you how. Gross negligence. When I first heard about this case years and years and years ago, I found it so incredibly insane that the reason that we don't know what happened to Amy is because they had let people get off the ship, even though they knew that a young girl was missing. I find that so insane. I can't even express. I find it so baffling that they let people off of that cruise ship knowing that there was someone missing. Because if they had not let anybody out, she had to be on the ship. Unless, of course, she fell fell over or jumped. But then at that point, if she wasn't on the ship, then they would know that was exactly what happened, if I'm making sense. But I just find it so disgusting that they just opened the doors and were like, well, and now who knows what happened to that poor girl. I personally don't believe that she jumped or fell. I do believe that she was abducted, and I do believe that it could have possibly been due to the efforts of the crew in conjunction with some kind of human trafficking ring in Curacao. I think they were both working together. I think that's the most plausible, just due to the fact that there was so much evidence that was tampered with or destroyed, and like I mentioned, like the crew members could have been completely stalling the search efforts. I think that that's all very possible, but of course I don't know for sure. We most likely will never know. But let me know what you guys think in the comments below, and I hope you